And we are back. Welcome to another Apex Legends video. So, with the news that came out about Season 4 and the new legend and the changes and the charms and yeah, I mean, I'm very excited. However, there are definitely some things I want to see in Season 4, and I'm sure most people do too. I've been spending a lot of time on Reddit here recently looking at the Apex Legends stuff, especially over the last probably month as we get closer and closer to Season 4. And I've definitely picked up on a lot of things that people want to see. A lot of the stuff I disagree with, and I'll talk about that. But there are definitely a lot of things that I want to see in Season 4. So these are kind of my big ones for this upcoming season coming on February 4th. So this is 20 things I want to see in no really particular order, just things I jotted down. Alright, so number 1, lore. So I like the history of the whole Apex Legends thing, and it's hard in a multiplayer online game with no story mode to really get that history across. So the little aspects that we've been able to see in the stories and the trailers and things like that are fantastic. So I would like to see more of that and more history of things. I played a little bit of Titanfall, so there's little bits and pieces that I know, but there's still a lot of the legends that weren't involved that we don't know really much about. So I want to see more of that. Number 2, buff to Mirage. So I always say, like, I don't feel like I have a main that I play everybody, but I do have more time with Mirage. I think he's more enjoyable as far as just the personality goes. Granted, his abilities aren't amazing, which is why I think he needs a little bit of a buff, because people love to play as him. So his stuff, I feel like, should be buffed. The passive is horrible. There's 2 different parts to the passive that could be easily changed. Is when he is down on that passive, if he's invisible for about an added like 3 seconds, would be huge for his ability to escape, or the ability to go invisible when picking up their downed teammates. So as soon as he starts that animation to revive, he goes invisible. That would be huge. So that's a really easy buff to him. The tactical is fine. Maybe 2 tacticals like Bangalore Smoke. And the ultimate is okay if maybe the sound is tweaked a little bit with the footprints. Number 3, God, and I hate to say this because I love this gun, and I hate to say the term nerf because I don't think things should be nerfed. I think things should be buffed to kind of equalize out. But the G7 probably needs to be nerfed. So I'm okay with a small nerf there with the G7, probably just on the headshots. I suspect with the new the sniper rifle that's coming, and I'll talk about that, as well as probably a buff to the longbow that I see, like them coming from Season 2 to kind of buff that back to where it was. I could see that kind of equaling out and taking away maybe the headshot damage to be so severe with the G7. I could see that happening, and I'm okay with that. So this is about the only thing I asked for with a nerf. Number 4, map options. So we now know that Kings Canyon is coming back, not only in the limited time mode, which actually starts today. For myself, I'm not sure when you're watching this, but it'll be starting in several hours from now, is the Kings Canyon at night mode. So we also know that Kings Canyon will be coming back into rotation halfway through the season, at least in ranked is what it definitely showed, but I would imagine that's going to be for everybody halfway through the season. But I would like, once that happens, is the ability to select which map we play on. It would be just like a majority. I think once people start playing Kings Canyon and the nostalgic thing goes away and the nostalgic aspect to it goes away, and people play it a little bit more, it'll get mixed up. Right at the beginning, and if it was added, everybody would be picking Kings Canyon. You'd never see World's Edge. But I think halfway through the season, people would start getting like, oh, I kind of want to go back and see World's Edge again. So it'll happen. Number 5, always be closing. Man, I loved, and honestly, like I said, we haven't even played the Kings Canyon at night minus Shadowfall and the Dummies Big Day. but Always Be Closing was amazing. That was by far, so far, my favorite of the limited time modes. That one I would love to see kind of come back on occasion. It was so fun. So I do want to see that. And related, number 6 and number 7 is solos for 6 and 7 duos. I wasn't big with solos because I was a lot more passive when solos came out. Duos was a lot of fun if you just wanted to partner up with one person or just had one person available. Duos was great. Solos, like I said, I played it a little bit. I didn't have a whole lot of success with it and didn't have a whole lot of fun. I wouldn't mind seeing it come back now because I'm a lot more aggressive, and that works for a solo style. So those modes I would like to see come back on possibly a permanent rotation, but at least come back on cycle. Where am I at here? That was 7. Number 8, at least 2 legends. So we know we're seeing Forge, and I would imagine we're going to see Revenant. Obviously that surprised people, but I would like to see at least 2 legends this season. Maybe we can see more, I don't know. That would be great, but I guess we'll find that out soon. Number 9, the red legend tokens. So we know what we can do with everything else, but those red legend tokens, like, I'm just getting like massive amounts of with nothing to do. So we definitely need to have something to do with those. For sure. So like, I don't know, be able to cash in like a large amount for an Apex pack. I don't know, but something added where we can spend those. Because right now, just buying legends, unless they start releasing a lot of legends, they're just going to continue to grow. Number 10, buff Caustic. So the gas effects with Caustic, with it slowing down your team, it's kind of the same aspect of the EMP with Crypto. So that changed with Crypto. I think it would help if it was changed with Caustic's gas. I know when I have a Caustic on my team, that isn't me. I always kind of think like, and I don't mind because Caustic can be very effective, but I always think like, how am I going to get affected by this gas? Is it going to slow me down? Is it going to throw it right on top of me? What's going to happen? Exact same thing with Bangalore smokes. Like, how is this Bangalore going to use this? A lot of times it kind of goes against me. So I would like to see some type of an effect where it's taken away from your teammate. That would be helpful. Number 11, changes in the weapon gun pool. So we know we're getting one gun, and the sniper rifle, which was unexpected. I'm okay with it now, thinking back, and kind of having a day to think about that. Is it's actually different. The bolt action gun is definitely different than what we've had, really. So I'm okay with that. I would like to maybe see another SMG, if possible, and maybe even another throwable. I can't think of, in Rainbow Six there's an operator who she has an ability of like a sticky tack type thing that knocks people back. Somebody will be able to tell me what that is, but that ability or that as a throwable would actually be very cool, especially like in game, to be able to knock somebody out of a building, off of a ledge, whatever. So I think that would be a great option. Number 12 is a buff to Bloodhound. So I didn't play a whole lot of Bloodhound back in like Season 1 and even like Season 2. And then started playing with him a little bit more in Season 3. And he was the first legend that I had where I went back to back with wins. So my first three victory, like back to back victories, I've only done with Bloodhound. And I still don't play with him a whole lot. I don't necessarily know why. I think he just needs a buff with that tactical. I hate using it. Everything else is fine. I like the passive tracking. I love his ultimate. It's very, very good. You're extremely fast. It's easy to see the opponents. I think the tactical needs a buff. I don't like that he is a professional tracker and hunter, and his tactical gives him away. I'm fine if you get scanned and you know, okay, there's a bloodhound here, but I shouldn't be able to see like a bloodhound scan from like three buildings away. I shouldn't be able to see that. That kind of defeats the purpose for me. So I think just making that invisible would be a great way to buff him. Number 13, skill-based matchmaking. So the whole SBMM, when you see that, I think it just needs tweaked. I mean, I could go on, just from all the stuff I've read on Reddit, it's ridiculous. Probably about once an hour somebody posts some type of complaint about skill-based matchmaking, about, oh, look at my squad versus the champion squad. I think it just needs to be like 100% random. I don't think it should go away. It needs to be tweaked and expanded. It shouldn't be so narrow where it feels like you're joining a ranked match. It should be totally random. So you might have times where you're matched up. If you're a level and you've got 80,000 kills with whatever person that you're playing with, you join and you're joining with a level 11 and a level 30 who each have like 10 kills. That type of stuff is going to happen. It should be more random, but I think it should be tweaked to the point of like doubling the amount of leeway that you would have with ranked. I think that would be a great way to do it. I think it goes on like your shooting percentage, things like that. So it's not necessarily all on kills, the amount of time, things like that. So there are ways that it can be tweaked, but it cannot, will not, and I know Respawn will not take it away. So people should probably stop complaining about it and maybe just ask for tweaks rather than just say it needs to die, because it's not, because 90% of the players aren't affected by it and don't mind it. Number 14, a buff to Octane. So he's obviously a kind of a selfish legend where his abilities don't help his team very much. So I think just a very easy thing for him is a little less damage with his stems. I think the healing rate is fine for the passive, but I think the tactical stems should just do less damage to him. So I think that is a great tweak for him. His ultimate is, you know, I don't know, it is what it is. It's kind of bland. It really just helps him. It can help move his team a bit, but not dramatically. So I'm fine the way he is, but I think just the tactical buff to his stem doing less damage would be great. Number 15, rewards for teamwork. So something I hear and see a lot is people complain that, oh, these randoms keep leaving when they go down, and they just leave matches and I'm stuck by myself, and they just get shot a little bit. They have no faith that we're gonna pull out a squad wipe and be able to save them, and or we got the win without them. But in public matches, like, I don't care. Like, it's frustrating when teams leave, but people are starting like calling for like bans and timeouts of players when they leave public matches, and that it is very frustrating. But that part cannot happen. People play public matches really just to play. They don't necessarily want to sit around and even play teamwork. They just want to go in and have fun, kill people, whatever. They may not want to talk to you. They may not want to watch you play for 20 minutes trying to respawn them or whatever, run around, especially if they time out. They're just not going to do it. So I'm calling for people to stop complaining about it and realize you're in a public match. What I think, instead of punishing people for teamwork, for bad teamwork and leaving, I think you should reward people for staying. So go more positive rather than negative. So don't ban people, reward people for staying. Okay, so they get bigger or more XP, I think would be the easiest fix, is they get double XP for staying like this amount longer after like a respawn or whatever. Or if you get respawned, you get X amount of XP for that because you stayed until you're to help your team. I think that's a really good and easy thing to do, and it doesn't ban people from public matches, which seems ridiculous to me. Number 16, crossplay. Very obvious thing. and I think everybody would be perfectly fine with it, is that crossplay. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people now going over and kind of jumping to PC and playing and even using controller and obliterating people. So I don't think it's that different. I mean, everybody's like, you know, PC master race, blah blah. I really don't think there's that big of a drop off. There's definitely some aiming aspects. Controller has aim assist, so there's really, in my opinion, no difference. You know, there's plenty of videos out there of people, you know, wiping tons and tons of PC players using controllers. So it's doable. The big reason is I know a lot of people who plays the PlayStation that I want to play with. There's a big PlayStation base, and I play on Xbox. I want to play with some of these people on Apex Legends. So that's what I would like to see. Number 17, no nerfing of Legends, and I'm going to get into this more with number 18, but I think you need to buff or leave alone. So people need the buffs, the surprise nerf on like Wraith, and then the surprise buff on Gibraltar that just happened is very bizarre. Neither of those were being asked for or called for from anybody. Now maybe Respawn maybe sees something in the background, and you know, my perspective of Gibraltar or my perspective of Wraith may have been totally different than other people's. I don't know, but I don't think the majority of people were asking for that or wanted that or needed that. So buffs, again, I'm fine with, although I think Gibraltar was probably like a top 3 person at that point. So when you buff somebody, because back in like season 1, Gibraltar was arguably the worst or second, third worst legend, and then he got a healing buff with his dome, and his ultimate became a little more useful. And that shield, the one-on-one gunfights against Gibraltar are impossible. So I think he was fine where he was at, because he moved up to a top 3. So he probably didn't need that buff. I think the bottom people need the buffs. No nerfing. Stop nerfing. Buff people to kind of even things out. It's never going to be like a 10% pick rate on everybody and a win rate the same. It's never going to be that. You know, some legends are more likable than others. Some abilities are more useful than others in teamwork based things, and just the way that some matches work out. So again, stop nerfing legends. Buff them to kind of even things out. That's it. So related, number 18, leave a lot of the legends alone. A lot of the legends in the middle don't need buffs and they don't need nerfs. There's plenty of them like that. You know, Pathfinder's more, you know, up there a little bit higher tier. I don't think there's a bit of a nerf that a lot of people are thinking with his tactical. I would like to see that left alone. Bangalore is somebody who's in a great state. You know, leave her alone. There's a lot of people in the middle that just need to be kind of left alone. No buffs, no nerfs, just kind of let them be, and everything will work out fine. Like Watson, you know, another one, you know, perfect. Leave her alone. Okay, there's plenty of people, just leave them alone. Number 19. More Apex packs or crafting material. I'm fine with not giving away a bunch of Apex packs, but when I get an Apex pack and I open it and it's all crafting material, that's kind of a letdown. But I think if the crafting material was like, you know, maybe I think a 33% growth on the amount that was given away. So instead of like 90, it was 120. Instead of 120, it was 150 or whatever. So we could unlock things with the crafting materials rather than the Apex packs, so we can almost get things that we want rather than just the random Apex packs. So either more Apex packs or increase in crafting materials, either one. And then finally number 20, and I was just thinking about this because of the crypto buff with his EMP, is crypto buff with a respawn beacon. So you can already grab the banner. I think a lot of people, and it wouldn't necessarily be entirely like way too OP, but being able to respawn somebody at a respawn beacon with his drone as well. I think it's much harder work to be able to go to the box and get the banner than it is to actually get to a respawn beacon. Because usually when somebody dies and you have to get to their death box, there's going to be another squad in the area or looting it or something, and you just run out of time. You don't run out of time to respawn if you grab it. So I almost think it needs to be the other way around, almost, or just go ahead and give him the ability to do that. Alright, that is the 20 things I would like to see in Season 4. Obviously, we're not going to get all these things. We'll get some things that we didn't ask for. Some things we did. You never know. But that is it. That's all for now. Later.